Welcome back to Wellness in Minutes, where we give you bite-sized health information that's easy to digest. Be sure to check out the show notes for details on the full episode and more from the Food Matters podcast.
And just a little bit more on your recipe that you said you use for evenings. I'd love you to repeat that because I'm sure people would love to hear more about that.
Yes, so I would make golden milk, like you can buy it or you can make it with turmeric and ginger, a little ashwagandha in there. And I would do about 2 cups of your favorite. If you drink raw milk, awesome, right? Because actually raw milk, if you can tolerate, is the perfect food for this situation because it has the 50% protein, 25% carbs, and 25% fat, which is like the perfect ratio to shut off the nervous system. Like, okay, you're safe. Feed the thyroid without the thyroid having to work for it at all. And then, really supporting the nervous system. So if you can handle that, plus, milk has as a calming peptide. I don't know if your mom used to give you warm milk at night when you couldn't sleep, but if you can handle it, if not, then oat milk. I mean, macadamia milk would probably be my favorite because that's got the right amount of fat profile, the most saturated fat, which is what we're going for. That's also another pillar. We're using the targeted use of saturated fats to protect the nervous system, to create stability, and not so much the unsaturated fats, which can create instability. So you'll do, I would say, about 1.5 cups of your nut milk, and then 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of ginger in there, ginger powder, maybe a little bit less than 1/8 of a teaspoon. If you have ashwagandha powder, you can add it. Actually, Gaia Herbs makes this already done for you, which is the one that I use. Add a sprinkle of salt. Add 2 scoops of collagen, which will be 18 grams, and add a teaspoon of ghee. And then just use one of those stir sticks, blend it all together, create a kind of a sacred moment. I'd say maybe have that an hour before bed so that hopefully
Beautiful.
You don't wake up to use
Okay. And when did you add the banana and cashew nuts? Is that like a smoothie on itself? Is by itself, or is that?
Oh, no, that's an either or. That's an either or.
Okay,
so you can do you can do golden milk at night, see how that works for you. Or you can just peel a banana, roll it in Himalayan pink salt, have 10 raw cashews with it. Easy. That's 2 options at night before bed to make sure you sleep better, make sure you don't pop up with high cortisol, and hopefully you don't get the jitters in the morning.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love having like practical recipes, that help us to stabilize our blood sugar levels and help us to sleep better. And you were saying with the centurions, the most common denominator is having a balanced glucose level. Can we chime a little bit more into that? And what would you say is especially for people that have a busy lifestyle in the morning, what would you say is the best way to balance the glucose level throughout the day? And like some sort of practical tips that they can perhaps carry around with them, or, just like I sometimes say, just a tablespoon of coconut oil, or something like that you go to for when you're starting to feel that hangry feeling coming up.
Yeah, if you get hangry, then you've gone too far, right? Because what's happening is you don't have the glycogen reserve, so here comes cortisol, right? And so, then we talked about the adrenal creamsicle in the morning, but then make sure you have a hearty something to stabilize and anchor you after that within a few hours. So you just have to create that time, whether that's kale, sausages, and or turkey bacon and some sweet potatoes would be really grounding. And then make sure you have a complex carb with lunch. That will make your afternoon go different and decrease the cravings for additional caffeine or sugar. So high quality, well-cooked brown rice I'm fine with, or quinoa if you eat grains is good. Buckwheat is very warming for your time of the year in Australia, and it's gluten-free. But I love using fruit and root sugar to build resilience. Like that's another one of our pillars is when you use fruit and root sugar, you're going to decrease stress hormones in your system. You're going to increase thyroid hormones. You're going to break out of this stress cycle and feel the way you want to feel by also healing your thyroid and adrenals. So I'd say as you go throughout the day, another breakfast could be like a good quality yogurt. If it's a goat yogurt or like an A2, easier to digest, add 1 scoop of collagen and just like a half a cup of fruit. And you have protein, carb, and fat. That's like, these are for light breakfast eaters, right? Or you can use any of these 2 things as a snack throughout the day. Another awesome, easy snack is to do a mug of bone broth with a cup of collagen and then esteemed apple or pear peeled, because when you're in this state, it's hard for you to digest. You again, we're like treating ourselves like almost like a baby. Like, here, I'm giving you all this food that is so easy to convert into fuel. You don't have to work too hard in the GI tract to convert it to food and fuel. So you're giving your gut a break so that it can heal as the nervous system heals. So that's an easy snack. And then we're having our, our larger meals that are your complex carb, your animal protein. I respect vegetarians. I cut my teeth on like a full 1.5 years of vegan macrobiotic when I started this nutrition journey, but it is harder to heal the hormones, and it is harder without having that complete amino acid profile. And we say animals, roots, and fruits basically within the adrenal recodes. So you'll have your non-starchy vegetables, but you're going to make sure that you're going to have a complex carb or a fruit, like some type of carb with really good quality protein. Mm-hmm. I like to, if you're going to have muscle meat, which is basically what most of us are eating, right? The steak and the beef and chicken or pork, to have a little bit of bone broth with that, or a little bit of collagen to make sure that you decrease the inflammation that muscle meat might create if you're in this weakened state.
Yes.
So kind of looking at your meal that way, and then having a fat. A lot of us go overboard on the fat. I'm not saying that you have to increase fat, but cook it in ghee or use some butter or coconut oil, avocados, avocado oil, olives, like all good fats. So, you're like, did I have my protein, carb, fiber, and fat, with every meal? Whether it's big
and what
or
is
small.
your take on, I personally grew up in Holland, and we were really big on rich fats, and especially cod liver oils and fatty fish for breakfast, and even chicken liver. What is your take on those type of animal products?
I love those animal products, and that's very Weston A. Price-ish of you.
I know, right?
Yeah, and I would make ice cubes for my son when he was born, because maybe they'll eat anything before they know, and I would make ice cubes of fermented cod liver oil and raw liver. And
my mom used to give that stuff by the teaspoon to me. Like, it was just like, open your mouth, here you go, off you go to school now.
Yeah, and what a beautiful base to give someone. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of those high value fats. And if you can, so muscle meat, we were talking about muscle meat, but organ meats are incredibly metabolic, and they are converted into fuel like instantly, and all the mitochondria in the heart. And that's why when you observe out in the wild, I don't know if you've ever been on safari, but you see, like, after a fresh kill, it's like the lion always goes first. And it's this transference of life force, and they're eating the organs. They're not.
Where do they go
else,
first? They go straight to the organs.
Straight to the organs. I wish I liked it, though. I mean, I'm sure there's so many people like, I'm not going to do it. I tried everything to like organ meats. I mean, do you still like chicken liver just since you grew up on it?
Well, I've become vegetarian, pescatarian mostly now, but I remember that was the thing my mom would force feed down my throat. So no, I don't necessarily like them.
No. Yeah, my grandfather used to eat chicken liver pate. So we suggest it as a supplement. It's one of the only supplements, where you're having liver to help with cellular energy, mitochondria, very easy to use, and people start to feel better, especially if they're in a compromised state to where they can't even process their supplements. They're taking all these expensive supplements, but they're not able to digest and deliver them. So I'm a huge fan of those fats for sure. And they can really help the nervous system heal. It can help the nervous system recover from past trauma and insulate it from future trauma. And fat-soluble vitamins, they're clinically proven to provide protection and rejuvenation to nerve cells and help heal the myelin sheath that we talked about. When they feel like they're fragile, then they're open to any kind of toxic invasion. So if you look at the way like the carbon molecules work and with the spokes, and we want to have hydrogen molecules attached to them to create safety, because otherwise if they're not and we're eating a ton of seed oils, like we have a problem with the overproduction of seed oils, well then they're leaving you vulnerable for a toxin to come attached to them, and that comes back to like what's happening, why are insulin receptors getting clogged, right? So yeah, it's a good conversation.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for those really fantastic tips and practical tips. I love them. And let's just do a little, I guess, summary of where we're at with healthy weight loss. So for those that are just looking at this program and understanding more about their health and losing weight healthy, what would you say as a summary on what type of approach to take?
What type of approach to take is to be mindful of your thyroid, your adrenals, and your gut, and make sure that you have food frequency. Make sure that you are using fruit and root sugar to build resilience. Make sure that you are combining, where I say combining your macronutrients, protein, carb, and fat together. Don't just have an avocado as a snack or a piece of fruit as a snack or a banana as a snack, because it will create an imbalance when you're trying to lose weight.
So yes, thank you everyone for listening. I really enjoyed that talk. I hope you did too. And there will be more of these on the Food Matters podcast. So head to foodmatters.com and see you again.